Hello, my name is Joe Parks. I'm a technical support with Cole Morgan, and I focus helping customers with the KAS IDE software and our PCMM2G EtherCAT master controllers. Today, I'm going to go over a new feature that we're just releasing, allowing you to have the PCMM2G controller have an OPC UA server running on it. So this is a new feature that is added in the 4.05 release of KAS IDE software and PCMM2G firmware. Note that this is only available with PCMM2G controllers. It is not available with first generation PCMM or PDMM controllers. So OPC UA is short for Open Platform Communications United Architecture, and it's a great new communication protocol that will allow us not only to talk back and forth with HMIs, a little bit easier setup than Modbus, but also talk to SCADA systems. It's used a lot in production machine data collection to not only log data and run analytics on it. So this is popular with the Industry 4.0 and Internet of Things, and now we are compatible with this new protocol. And the setup for the OPC UA server is done in the Fieldbus editor of the KAS IDE software, which I'm going to demonstrate, go through step by step later in this video. And then once that's complete, the tags can automatically be imported to OPC UA clients. So unlike our Modbus setup, where you have to set it up on both the KAS IDE and then on the Modbus master side, once you set it up in the KAS IDE, all the tags, variables, and the names, data types can be imported in one quick step to OPC UA clients. We also support 3 different authentication settings. The default or anonymous has no extra security on it. We can also require the client to supply a username and password to get the data. And also we support certificate level authentication, which I will go over in a separate video. And we've also added a new web server tab to allow you to create server certificates as well as import client certificates if you are using that certificate level of authentication. In my KAS IDE software, I opened up a template 2-axis PLC Open project and just connected and scanned my EtherCAT network. I'm going to run it on a dual-axis AKD2G drive. And all the setup, as I mentioned before, is done in the Fieldbus editor. So if I find that section of the Project Explorer, double-click on it, it will open up in my main window. You start kind of going top-down through all the buttons. Right now, nothing is in the Fieldbus editor, so only the top button is available. I will click on it, and that is Insert Network. And now, with the 4.05 release of software, if you're using a PCMM2G controller, the OPC UA server option is available. So I will add that. Comes up, you can use defaults. So for now, I'm going to stick with the defaults. You don't have to change the name of the server or provide a URI. You can change these different settings, so the max sessions or clients that are connected. And then I'm going to have a separate video that shows you how to use the certificate level of authentication. For this first starting video, I'm just going to use the default or the anonymous login. So I'm going to click OK. If you need to go back and make changes, you can always just highlight the OPC UA server level and make changes over here to the right, or double click to get that pop-up back up to make changes. And now that I've added OPC UA server from the Insert Network button, I can click on the next button, Insert Master or Port. This is also optional to add the TCP IP address. If you don't, it's just going to use the IP address from here that's used to connect to the PCMM2G, so I'm just going to leave it as that. And I'm going to use the default port of 4840. And because I'm not using any advanced security or certificate level authentication, I'm going to keep the policies at none. And we'll go over this more in a separate video. And then you can click down to Insert Slave Data Block to give a name to one or more groups of tags that you want to make available. So I can do maybe like Axis Data. And then you have a couple of options. You can then click on this button, Insert Variable, and one by one pick which variable that's already been declared. You want to share, and then if you want it to be read-only, write-only, or read-write. And when you do that, so for instance, ActPos1, then you'd also have to make sure that the data type, in this case, 64-bit floating variable or a long real, is all set up. So because of that, I typically don't use this insert variable. Instead, I find it much faster and easier to right-click this level of the Fieldbus editor, choose the Add Tag option, and it'll bring up this pop-up screen. You can also add one or more groups. I just have the access data that I added before. And you also get a list of all the variables that are already created in our dictionary, and you can just drag and drop if I had another group. For instance, maybe machine control. You can pick which section you want each variable or tag to go into, and note that all different data types work, from long real, boolean, different integer data types, and strings. So let me add a number quickly here, and I'm going to make some of them not read-only, but read-write. Some of them would make sense to change, so ready is just an indicator, that's fine, read-only. Like the faults reported by the drives, read-only, but things that they might want to write to, such as a direction bit or velocity accel, I'm going to make read-write. So then once you click OK here, it says configuration all exists, you ever write it? Yes. Then those different groups are available, and all the tags are already added. And if I look, it automatically sets that data type for you. And it also, has the variables I specified, read, write, do change. Once again, you could go through for any of these, click on it, make changes here, or if I select the whole group, I can double click to make changes to any individual parameter for any of the tags available. And you would have to do a compile and download to your controller before you make any changes to this, and before any changes will take effect on your actual controller. So for now, that's all I need to do. Now all these variables or tags are available through the OPC UA server running on a PCMM2G. So I'm going to compile and download and then run this project. And then I'm going to use software called UA Expert. So this is just a free OPC UA client that you can use for testing, diagnostics, or developing your projects. And so it's very easy to use. Once I verify that my project is downloading and running on my PCMM2G controller, I can right-click in the UA Expert software on the server level and click Add. I have already entered the IP address. If not, you could always double-click to add a new one to enter the IP address. But my controller is at its default right here, so I'll open that up. It's going to go out and establish a connection with my PCMM2G, and then it's going to allow me to import all those tags automatically. Alright, it has established a connection. I can click on this None, that means there is no added security. Remember, I just did the anonymous setup. Click OK, and it will add all the available tags down here. So if I open the PLC section, here are the two groups that I created, access data and machine control. So I can drag out direction and velocity, and then also my position, fault description, fault number. So right now we can see that it is in fact reading all of these tags. I can look up, this is what's actually running on my PCMM2G. I could double click and make changes. for the read-write. So this direction bit, I can double-click, check. Now it is true on the PCMM. You can uncheck it. So the read-write variables are working. And also, if I just actually run this, we go to the control panel, I can enable, start running both axes, go back verifying that yes, I am seeing that the positions reported are increasing just as they are if I monitor through the KAS IDE software. If I force a fault, so if I pull the SDO signal on the drive, so now it's reporting there is a fault, and the string is fault 9000, save torque off, and that is also coming over to my client. And finally, I wanted to point out that besides this video, there are other documentation resources available to help you set up an OPC UA server in the KAS IDE software. We have our built-in context-sensitive help, whether you have it set up for online or offline documentation. When you hit F1 on your keyboard, it will bring up a help page that is based on what was highlighted by your cursor currently in the software. So in the Fieldbus editor, there is an OPC UA server section with links that go over all the different pages, all the different dialogues that you can set up. And once again, that is the internal KAS IDE help file, but there also is a separate PDF document created just for OPC UA server setup with or without advanced certification security, and that is available on our website. You can find it on the download section. There's a download link in the top right of our website, and if product, you select KAS and then the type documentation. Right now it's the latest manual, but eventually you will be able to find it in here, or you can always search for OPC UA user manual. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video and learn about the new OPC UA server feature in the KAS IDE software.